38-24. It is the War Report post-game show. I'm in here live with my fellas. Guys, it's here. They did it. Auburn has won. They defeated Baylor 38-24. I wonder, like, Caesar, you called this one 31-24.
Yep.
Dustin, what was your prediction on this game?
21-20. I felt like it was going to be one of them games, Mike, where just based off of what we had seen in week 0 and the first couple of days of week 1, I just really felt like it would be a thing where Auburn left points on the board due to like sloppiness. I felt like both offenses would be sloppy, and as the game progressed, Auburn's O-line would lean on their defensive line and kind of pull it out in the second half. I did not see either team scoring and moving the ball the way they did in week 1. Maybe I'd predicted a higher scoring game if it was like week 4 or week 5, but out the gate, I wasn't expecting this Auburn offense to come out put out 38. Pleasantly surprised though. Happy to be wrong on that.
Yeah, look, Auburn wins this one again, 38-24. The story of the game is the Auburn run game. Auburn dominated this game on the ground to the tune of 6.1 yards per carry. Guys, Auburn they were the more talented football team in this one.
Yeah,
it was clear that they were the more talented football team. It's something we had been saying going into this one. This is why you recruit. You go out and you get your Cam Colemans and your Eric Singletons and those guys. Now, they were a factor in this game, but they were not the biggest factor in this game. I think that goes to Jackson Arnold and Damari Alston. Those guys combined for 32 carries, fellas, and over 220 yards on the ground. It was a remarkable night for Damari Alston and Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold averaging 8.6 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, sealing the deal there at the end, man. Welcome on in to the War Report post-game live stream. If you're coming over from Locked On Auburn, we appreciate you. Zach is going to throw his viewers our way as soon as he's done. Look, we're going to get to your comments because there are so many comments in here. We could be doing comments probably until the sun comes up. But Caesar, again, your take on this one. There seemed to be everyone waiting for the proverbial other shoe to drop in the second half, and it never came.
Yeah.
Right. As a matter of fact, Auburn went into the half with only 17 points, and they doubled that up. They more than doubled that up in the second half, which is what we said they had to do. This was going to tell the tale of what this football team is going to be this year. Were they going to go away in the second half, or were they going to shut the door on Baylor? And look, hats off to Baylor. They did the only thing they could do in this football game. They had 64 yards rushing. Don't love the 419 yards through the air, but if you're going to be one-dimensional, I mean, I don't know that I would rather have it any other way. A lot of those were just yards Auburn was willing to concede to keep the ball in front of them.
Absolutely. I mean, again, make Baylor one-dimensional, because when they have beaten teams, decent teams, they were able to do both, run the football and pass the ball. Because they were unable to run the ball, they held their running back, I believe it was Bryson Washington, to 54 yards on 14 carries. He wasn't able to do much. And at one point, it almost looked like he was injured at one point. He went out to the locker room at one point, or he went off the field. But it put all the pressure on Sawyer Robertson. And so putting the pressure on him, throwing the ball 48 times, just to try to keep Baylor in the game. He made some passes, and listen, he's got some dogs to throw the ball to. Michael Trigg really was a problem all night for Auburn. They took advantage of that mismatch, and they went to the well often with him, and he paid off at times. But other than that, if you're Auburn, you have to be proud of the game plan. It worked well. You made them one-dimensional. Now, obviously, there's going to be some things you have to clean up. I was very disappointed with the open field tackling, or the tackling period, a lot of grabbing. Guys got to wrap up. And so I expect that is something that will get cleaned up as they go along. And you got to remember, Auburn is playing a lot of players on this defense. There are a lot of young guys in the secondary. And so they're susceptible to some of this stuff. And I think as they begin to progress through the season and get comfortable, I believe we'll see a lot of that get cleaned up. But yes, for a first game, it was good exposure for them to learn from. I expect that to improve as they go along.
Ike Jones is in the post-game press conference as we speak. We hope to hear from him live. We'll bring him in when he's available. Let's jump to some comments here. Doing stuff with Daddy. Media talks about Cobb being only a pass-catching back. He looked good running the ball. Also, D has to learn to tackle in space, as you mentioned. They were going to spread him out. This was the only thing they could do. That receiver, Trigg, he looks like a cyborg, man. He was, I don't want to completely diss Baylor here. They had
Cole
some guys.
Cole Wilson 8. Eight. He was a 100-yard receiver.
Yeah, they had some guys in this one that definitely performed. And certainly for Sawyer Robertson, 27 for 48. For 419 yards. Now, like I said, that deserves some context. A lot of those were yards Auburn was willing to concede to keep the ball in front of them, especially going into the third quarter. But, look, it was pretty clear Baylor wasn't going to be able to run the ball on this defense tonight. So they did what they had to do. They were hanging about right around their average of what they gave up last year, 21 points per game. That will improve, I think, as the season goes on. Stephen Annealy says, what's more concerning, 108 passing yards for Auburn or 419 allowed to Baylor? I don't think either are particularly concerning right now for me. It's game one, and this was an opponent who, this is a game of matchups. It's a game of matchups. They couldn't stop your run game. There was no reason to put the ball in harm's way tonight. Do what works, run the football. After that first drive, how many of you guys in the chat were just happy to see that Auburn didn't immediately abandon the run come drive two?
Yeah.
He received so much criticism last year for not giving Damari Alston the ball more. Jarquez Hunter the ball more. Now, Damari Alston, 16 carries, Jeremiah Cobb, 16 carries. So they split it pretty evenly between those guys. Cobb had 74 yards on the night. But look, Damari slowed down a little bit because he got hurt. It looked like he got hurt. He went out the game. He could have had even more tonight. Let's move on down the list here. We appreciate the comments, Stephen. Stu Dies a lot says, what are we going to do about the bad tackling tonight? They can clean that up. The tackling is something you can clean up, and it's not really something, correct me if I'm wrong, that plagued them last year. So I'm not sure that I'm super worried about tackling. You guys have any thoughts on this before we move on?
I want to say on the previous comment, I take it as encouraging that we continued the 109 passing yards because you didn't need to throw the ball a whole lot. And again, like you mentioned, you talk so much about going away from Jarquez Hunter. I'm happy that Hugh Freeze just stuck with what's working, didn't get too cute, didn't overthink it. And I'm on the bad tackling. I hear you. That Trigg guy is a problem. And Auburn struggled, he's just a mismatch problem out there at tight end, putting him out there in the slot. He can do some things. He's going to tear some Big 12 defenses up this year. And they got playmakers, and they were one-dimensional. How many pass attempts did Robinson finish with? That's all they could do was throw the ball. So I'm not surprised that they threw for yardage. I don't think the tackling is going to plague Auburn throughout the season. You got two opponents now coming in at home. You think that you should be able to kind of clean those things up. So I'm not worried about it yet. There's still a ton of talent on the defense, and I think it's something they'll get cleaned up by the time we play Oklahoma. Hope so.
Yeah. I agree. And I would say this to add to the prior point. Dave Aranda, the head coach, is a defensive guy, and he stuck to his game plan regardless of what Auburn was doing. He was determined to play two high safeties, blanket coverage to take away the explosive plays. If you're Hugh Freeze, what that means is there's less people. They're giving you an open box to run in. Run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. Jackson Arnold was 64% completion percentage. So he did well and took what the defense gave him. That's all you were asking him to do, and he did just that. The tackling, I expected to improve. It wasn't acceptable. I actually tweeted about it, but I expect it to improve, especially as you have guys who are in the 2 deep getting playing time. They're going to make mistakes, guys. Some of these guys, I saw names out there I haven't seen them ever. So they're learning. I expect them to improve as the season goes on.
Agreed. Fuller says, when was the last time the O-line gave up only one tackle for a loss / sack? Stat of the night potentially here. Only one tackle for a loss given up. I think that is credit to Jackson Arnold, though, and his athleticism and being able to move in the pocket. They flushed him out of the pocket to the right a lot tonight, it felt like, and he made good decisions with the football. The only potentially bad / disastrous decision on the fumble that that ball bounced around just a little bit too much for my liking, Dustin. I was like, will somebody please pick it up?
And guys, listen, last year Baylor gets that ball because the ball never bounced Auburn's way last year. So it's refreshing to see game 1, the ball actually bounced Auburn's way for once. And yes, that was a disaster that was averted. But yes, I think the only sack that they got too was an amazing play by the defender because Jackson Arnold was about to get away and escape the pocket. Then he just happened to get free at the right time. So Jackson Arnold's feet is truly a weapon. He's a weapon. And I was impressed when he did not see his first read at times, he took off. He was basically reading everything and wasn't waiting for guys to get open. But again, credit Baylor's defense and the game plan for taking receivers out of the game plan. It just gave a lot of room for Jackson Arnold to work and the running backs to work.
I want to stress, he was not like, this wasn't like a one read takeoff type thing for him. This was what they were giving up, and that's how they played it. That's how it was called, and I thought he made good decisions under the circumstances. The only bad decision he made all night was not just taking the sack on that almost near fumble. Just go down there, I feel like, but trying to get the ball out. I mean, that was potentially a momentum killing. Like that, the whole momentum of the game could have been killed on that play if Baylor picks that one up there. Yeah, just type of plays you can't give up.
Even those screen passes on that one drive. I think we threw it to Eric Singleton on like a screen 2 or 3 times on that one drive. Just take what they're giving you. Don't get too cute. You got 8-9 yards. You stayed ahead of the chains, and it led to a touchdown.
To add to that, what I like about the running attack is that they used Eric Singleton as a decoy and to really get the defenders out of place. So Jackson Arnold could just run up the middle. I mean, it was an amazing game plan how they used him because, again, it's almost as though Dave Aranda and the coaching staff have been reading or listened to Auburn media and how we've raved about the receivers because the game plan was to stop those guys.
Yep. Let's moving down the list here. Sorry, we already got that one. Jazzy Joe says Jackson Arnold came through another $50 for the touchdown run. He didn't throw any touchdown passes tonight. Yeah, but hey, listen, we'll take it any way we can get it here. D Lev says action. Jackson had 0 picks, 0 fumbles. As much ado as the Baylor media made about Jackson Arnold turning the football over and that being the difference in this football game, Jackson Arnold had 0 turnovers tonight. 0. Yeah. But those of us who enjoy context, tried to tell them, Dustin, all offseason that he didn't really throw picks. He didn't throw picks at Oklahoma. The fumbles suddenly go away when your O-line blocks for you. It's weird how that happens, right?
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Rigger Spoon says, fire whomever is in charge of tackling, leave them in Waco. They couldn't make the first, second, or third hit and gave up ridiculous yards after the catch. Yeah, look, the tackling is something I think they can clean up. But again, credit to Baylor. They had guys on offense, and I did not. That's why I gave them 21 points. I didn't think they would do nothing offensively in this game.
Right.
But Auburn is really good at keeping you out of the end zone, man. So they needed those big plays to get in the end zone.
And credit Baylor's receivers. They got some talented receivers.
Yeah, they do. They have Trigg. Trigg looked like trigonometry out there, man. He was hard to crack. He was the equation Auburn could not solve, dude. He was insane. Let's get on down the list here. So many comments. We appreciate you guys for joining us. Over 1,000 of you in here. If you're joining us from the Locked On Auburn live stream, welcome on in. Timothy Scott, defense needs a lot of work, especially the secondary. Starting to question why we were playing Durkin.
Why we're paying Durkin so much.
Paying Durkin so much. Oh yeah, look. Again, you have to give credit. You have to give some credit to Baylor, right? Sawyer Robertson, it was a guy that expected to be an all Big 12 performer. But again, it deserves some context. He was who I thought he was tonight. He did just enough. But like, if you're going to be one-dimensional versus good football teams, you're going to lose. You're not going to rush for 64 yards on Auburn and win. Just not going to happen. Justin, I felt like you had something in the pit of your soul there about to come out.
Oh, look, I mean, it's just, let's not erase what we saw last year from DJ Durkin. It's important to remember the context here. It's week 1, and you don't do a whole lot of hitting in fall camp anymore. It ain't 1999. It ain't 1989. You're not running 2 a day, smashing in the scrimmages every Friday. That's not how it is.
They're not in the intramural fields no more, Dustin.
Bro, they're not starting off practices on Tuesday with Oklahoma drills. It just ain't like that no more. I expected that. Watch college football tomorrow. Watch college football tomorrow and tell me you don't see a bunch of blown assignments in the secondary and missed tackles. And I'm not excusing it. I expected a better performance as well. But ultimately, you made Baylor one-dimensional. What's the point total? 24 points. I mean, you got go back to that stop that Champ Anthony made down there on the goal line. Like, it wasn't a great performance by the defense tonight, but let's not erase what we saw last year from DJ Durkin. I mean, he's a good coordinator. This Auburn defense, I still believe in them. They're going to be fine. It's week 1, baby. We just got a double-digit win on the road. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Look, it's time to celebrate this one. Auburn should celebrate this one. So, Timothy Scott says defense needs a lot of work, especially in secondary. Starting to question. Oh, I'm sorry. Blackwig offense grade B- and defensive C. So that's interesting, right? Like
I probably give the offense a much higher grade than that.
Yeah, I'm giving them an A.
Yeah, I'm giving them a much higher grade than that.
Yeah, I would say I would give them an A. Auburn, if we're looking at the totals here, Auburn finished with 415 yards of total offense. Look, I mean, the ground game, 307 yards rushing feels like 450 yards passing to me, right? Like that's what I think about that performance on the ground tonight. They ran the ball.
You average 6 yards a carry.
Yeah. And look, they controlled the game, but you control the pace of the game when you run the ball for over 300 yards at 6 yards per carry. Caesar, just insane. Chase Patterson says, I can't believe I watched a game where I was happy for the offense to be on the field instead of the defense.
Look, listen. I'm always happy when the offense is on the field more than the defense. I look forward to that. And that was what happened today.
Hey, when you're able to run the football like that and control the clock a little bit, you keep that defense off the field.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Let's see here. Big Homie Lander says, sure, the run worked, but I couldn't see on TV where our wide receivers were having problems getting open. No, I think that's just the way they called the game tonight.
Yeah,
really. It was a lot of Jackson Arnold was, kept it a lot. Look, man, if he's going to run for over 100 yards, there's going to be a takeaway from the receivers at some point. And that's the way I see it. Like, it was they ran the ball effectively, and Jackson Arnold makes you play 11 on 11. He had 137 yards rushing tonight. 137 yards rushing tonight. So we'll let Ike get set up there before he comes in. Seth Wood says, enjoying my honeymoon in Croatia, wife asleep next to
Congratulations.
me. Yeah. 6 a.m. here. Wardham Eagle. Jackson is confident. Freeze earned one more a year. F Baylor and Oklahoma media.
All it took was one game. That's pretty funny.
All the things. Look, Jackson.
Give him another year.
Look, before we move on, I just want to ask you, this Jackson Arnold's confidence was such a storyline going this one, right? And then after the first drive, everybody said, "Oh man, Jackson's not seeing the field; he's taking off running." No, he looked confident tonight to me. Yeah. He did. This version of Jackson Arnold can win football games. Now, look, down the road, they're going to need to pass the ball a lot more, I feel. But what do you guys think about Jackson tonight? I thought he looked confident, and I thought he looked in command of the offense.
Yeah, I felt like, going back several quarterbacks now, the complaint for Auburn over the past few years has been quarterbacks just hasn't made the play when he had to make the play. Yeah. Jackson made every play he had to make tonight. Think about that third down to Horatio Fields. He stays open just long enough, gets it to Horatio, and then the big fella is able to pull the defender across the line and keep that drive moving. Obviously, the 4th and 1 down there in the red zone, or right outside the red zone. Beautiful play call, by the way. Jackson did. He was tough. He led his team. He made every play that he needed to make when it was time to make them and win the game. We haven't seen that in the last few years from Auburn quarterbacks. So in week 1, that's something to be excited about, man. He was on the road, and he showed he's got that dog in him.
Hugh Freeze said about a week ago that in one practice that Jackson Arnold was making really good decisions. This is what I imagine he looked like in practice that day when Hugh Freeze observed him, because he was making the right decisions. And RG3 was calling it out in the game, basically. When you have a QB doing that, it gives the head coach or the play caller so much confidence and comfortability calling certain plays. There was one play they kept calling back to back to back because the QB kept making the right decision based on what he was reading. And that's what you need in this offense, is a QB who can be another coach on the field.
Not only was he making good decisions, as they mentioned that he was, but it was clear to me that they trusted him out there with that offense today too. There was a lot of trust put in Jackson Arnold. Hey, we've got a ton of comments still left to get to, but Ike is live from Waco. He made the trip for you guys. I want to bring Ike in here to talk to us about what Hugh Freeze said at the post-game presser. Ike, are you ready? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready? Yes, he's ready. Let's bring him on in. Ike Jones. Live from Waco. What was the tone in the presser? What did Hugh Freeze have to say about his football team?
Listen, of course, smiles. He and Jackson Arnold were both in there talking about why so much running. And basically, he said that Baylor was being stubborn. They kept playing too high safety. They weren't dropping additional folks in the box. And so they were like, all right, run it again. Basically, like, taking what the defense gave him, being patient and not trying to force the ball to the receivers. And he's like, listen, both he and Jackson were like, man, we want to get the ball to the receivers more, but Baylor made it their priority to make sure that Auburn beat them on the ground. And that's exactly what Auburn did.
Talk about, was he asking any questions, Ike, about defense and what they were seeing out there? They gave up a lot of passing yards, over 400 to Sawyer Robertson. And what was Hugh Freeze's take on what his defense was seeing out there, and a lot of missed tackles that got noted by everybody?
Honestly, he said that we're going to have to take a look at the way that we condition and get our guys ready, because he said that they looked gassed, but because they were able to rotate so much, it didn't impact them more than it could have. But they came up with crucial stops. And I think that's the big thing, is like, didn't get all the stops you wanted to, but man, listen, you gotta give some credit to Baylor for having talented guys on the other side that can make you miss tackles. And Sawyer Robertson hitting those in pinpoint positioning that allows the run after the catch. But 100% the defense has to perform better than this. And I think that they're going to take this personally and get back in the lab and figure out how to be better.
Ike, talk to us about the run defense. They only gave up 64 yards on the ground tonight. So they made Baylor a one-dimensional football team. Even beside what Coach Freeze said, what did you see out there, in the stadium about Auburn's run defense?
Yeah, salty. salty run defense. I think that was a big focus for them coming into this game. Was we have to be better at making sure that we're putting ourselves in better third and long positioning. And they did a good job of, again, with the rotations of keeping guys fresh in there. You saw, some freshmen in there getting some reps along the defensive line, and they were out there being effective. But the defensive line, really both sides of the ball on the lines of scrimmage, Auburn was being dominant and playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage for a vast majority of this game. It didn't show itself in the pass rush as much, but man, that defensive line is going to definitely be a strength of this team, more so than I thought. I thought the secondary was going to be it, but the defensive line was out there doing their thing.
We saw a lot of 11 personnel tonight. Can you, did he talk about the scheme and how they felt like they were able to attack Baylor so effectively offensively?
Yeah, honestly, they wanted to spread them out and pull guys out of the box once they realized Baylor wasn't going to budge, right? Like they started, if you notice, they started the game in 12, right? And so they wanted to, that first drive didn't really go anywhere, but I think it's because Baylor had decided these guys are, not going to throw the football. We're just going to throw some different stuff at them as far as the simulated pressures. And when they were like, okay, you're going to stay in too high safety, fine, we'll spread it out. We'll give you a box look that's not favorable for you. Either you're going to come out of that look or we're just going to keep running the rock. And that's what they did.
Yeah. The wide receivers played an important role tonight, but there weren't a ton of opportunities for them out there tonight. Did he talk about Damari Alston in his I think he got injured somewhere in there and they pulled him off the field?
He was fine. DA was in the post game after Jackson Arnold and Coach Freeze left. I had an opportunity to talk to him and Jeremiah Cobb, and he said he's completely fine. A little dinged up on one play, but he went back in there afterwards. On his way out of the pressure, I tweeted this. Connor Lew is walking in to sit down and do some of his media availability. Jeremiah Cobb, DA are walking out. He's like, Connor, you better tell him 3 things for certain: death, taxes, and Auburn running the football.
I called this one 38-21, 38-24, but that doesn't happen without the kickoff return for a touchdown. Special teams. Any comments from Coach on that kickoff return and Rayshawn Pleasant being back there? I'm not sure we knew he was going to be back there returning kicks.
I did. I mean, that's one of the things I talked about in the preseason. That's one of the reasons why he made this team, was because he was going to be a kickoff specialist, a kick return specialist. But he said actually he told them earlier in the game he fair caught one, and he went to the special teams coach and he was like, hey, if he kicks it to him again like that, tell him to run it out. So he said he felt like he had an opportunity to run another one out and he just didn't do it. And so he was like, listen, man, if they kick it to him again, let him loose. And that's exactly what happened.
Ike, before we let you go, I know you got a long drive back to Alabama, so I want to thank you for your coverage there, making the drive to Waco for us. Your final thoughts on this one, on what you saw there. I've never been to Waco. How was the environment? Like, what was the experience like for you? Give us a quick download before you get out of here.
Yeah, it definitely isn't Nashville. So no construction zones. It's a nice city though. I mean, it's a nice small town, but like it has some urban looks to it, so it doesn't really feel like a college town. But stadium is nice. The people have been pleasant to deal with, so I have no issues with Waco, Texas, on this trip. I'm gonna hopefully get a chance to go out a little bit tomorrow before I hit the road and see some of it a little bit more, but overall, really good, and a good win for Auburn. Good to see them close out a game in which was still a 1-score game at the half and figure out a way to get the W.
What's the what was the attendance like? Was it packed? Was it packed in there tonight?
Yeah, packed house. Really good Auburn crowd, and you heard them come alive at points during the game. The Baylor crowd was giving them a lot of energy when they felt like they had a little bit of hope. I don't know if our guy Y2K is out there, but sir, talk to me real nice. Talk to me real nice in these comments afterwards. Yeah.
Y2K was, credit to him, Ike. He was one of the first in here. I'm trying to get us back to, there we go.
Yeah.
He was one of the first. Like I credit to him for showing up. He showed up.
Okay.
And
he said he was going to win or lose, but he just thought it was going to be the other way.
Yeah,
He wanted to be one way.
Look, man,
but it's the other one.
what I heard, what I hope, well, hang with us for a second, Ike, because we're just having fun in here. There's 1,500 of you guys in here. What I hope Baylor fans realize is what we had been trying to say this entire offseason. The level of talent. You could not be fooled by the 5-7 record last year. This was a much more talented football team than their 5-7 record. Look, you guys know I cover UCF. I'm telling you, I think Baylor is going to go on to contend for the Big 12. And for Auburn's sake, I hope they do.
No, I think Baylor is a hell of a football team, and offensively, they weren't even punching on all cylinders. Like Bryson Washington had some opportunities to break some big runs. Like I think, and he ran some tough short yardage stuff too. I think against lesser talent that doesn't have Bryson Washington was gone. And it got called back for a holding, right? He was gone. Kay and Lee ran him down the open field. Hear that again. Not the fastest DB on the team.
Right.
Ran him down in the open field. They had a big play, and Keldrick Falk goes and runs a guy down 30 yards down the field. You hear what I'm saying? Like that's a different kind of athlete. Both of those plays are probably touchdowns against other teams. You just have a different level of athlete that you're going up against, man. Champ Anthony was out here laying people out like he was had turn down service at the hotel, man. Like he was really out here making people feel his presence out here on the field. It's just a different kind of athlete, bro.
Yeah, look, recruiting shows up in games like these. Sometimes it shows up at the end. For Auburn, I thought it showed up the entire game. But you didn't get a chance to be on this conversation. So again, I want to make sure I get your thoughts while they're fresh. I think what was striking for most fans was in the second half, Auburn didn't go away offensively, and they were so accustomed to that. Every big game in Auburn history over the last 25 years, there's been a worry that in the second half, Auburn is not going to be able to put up points. Think about that third quarter versus Florida State in 2013. Gus takes the foot off the gas just this much, and they lose by 3 points. Or they got 2 national titles this century. I was impressed that they not only put up points in the second half, they put up more points in the second half.
Yeah, credit to Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold for fighting their urge to go out there and show off the wide receiver talent. They fought their urge to say, man, we got guys that can win, and just do what you need to go get the dub. Like it's working, continue to work it, and allow yourself to walk out of Waco with a dub, as opposed to trying to prove to somebody I can do what, like they were double teaming Eric Singleton every time he was out there. Right. So they're just like, all right, we're not going to force the ball to Eric. We're just gonna go and we're gonna do the necessary things to get a win, and I think that's the difference this year than last year, honestly. He also gave a little anecdote during the press conference about that 4th down call where Jackson Arnold scores that last touchdown, and he said when they went to the timeout over on the sideline, he said Deuce Knight was in his ear. He's like, well, Deuce Knight's always in my ear, but he was in my ear in particular during this timeout, and he said Deuce came over and he said, the quarterback's the best playmakers on the field, right? And basically, Deuce was like, man, let Jackson run it, bro. Let him do his thing.
Wow.
So that's putting confidence in your quarterback to go get a tough yard when you need it. And then they right play call to utilize what they had been doing the entire time, which is we're going to key on Eric Singleton. We're going to flash him across your face. Linebacker moves over just a half a step, and Jackson Arnold breaks the daylight, man. It's listen, the halftime adjustments were really great. Really, the adjustments after that first drive were amazing for Auburn. And that's something you couldn't say a lot last year, is that Auburn made the adjustments necessary to continue to score points. And then you saw really a big throw from your golly, man, a big 3rd down throw from your quarterback when you need it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time we saw that?
Yeah. There was a lot. There were a lot of old precedents broken tonight for Auburn football, and it's because of the level of talent that they brought in here. Hugh Freeze feels like he had closer to what he needed to run his full system. So like I said, looks like this is going to be an 11 personnel look kind of team. I thought we would see some 10. I'm not sure we saw that tonight.
Again, I just don't. I think that they needed that extra guy. That's good. That's good preparation by your team to understand. That's one of the things DA and Jeremiah Cobb were talking about. They were like, man, like we saw a Jackson Arnold that I don't know that we knew, like that he had that level of athleticism. Like we knew he could run, but of course in practice you don't get the opportunity to see him go one direction, stop, pivot, reverse field, and go pick up some yardage going in the opposite direction. Like you're not going to see that in practice because that's not what they're there to do. But once you see it, it makes teams have to prepare differently. That's what Connor Lou said. Like, we've showed people you have to prepare a little bit differently for this Auburn offense than you thought you would, because Jackson Arnold is an absolute threat, and we didn't even get to the passing portion of the playbook for real.
Ike, thanks for joining us, man. Look, I don't know if you got to go, but you're welcome to stay in here while we do comments here, just in case you got something.
Nah, man, I got to get on so I can try to get some rest when we hit the road tomorrow, man. But we'll definitely have more to say about this on the Sunday show, and I'll have way more in-depth notes for you guys about this stuff too.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Ike, drive safely home. Godspeed. Ike Jones from the War Report joining us live from Waco, Texas. There, interesting comment there about Deuce telling Coach, "Hey, man, best playmakers on the field, let them cook."
That doesn't happen if Jackson Arnold is struggling. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
we have talked about this. Players are willing to wait their turn when they know the guy that's in front of them is producing. Because at the end of the day, these guys want to play, but these guys also want to win. And if your QB is showing that he is fully capable and giving you the best chance of winning, you'll see those guys defer to that guy because they trust him to make the play. That's really what you saw there, and that's very important.
Yeah. Let's jump back to some comments here. Seth Wood says, "Enjoying my honeymoon." Oh no, wait, we did that in Croatia. F Baylor, all the things. We appreciate that, Seth. J Rock became a member. More of this, please. So many of you guys signed up earlier today. We appreciate that. Man of his word, he comes through. WFE, why pass when Baylor sold out on the pass? As promised, see that bag. Our guy, just like KP, dropping bags on the live stream.
KP, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, hopefully Auburn gives you that feeling a little bit more this
I know, right?
We like the bag drop. Look, they drop bags on these players.
Hey, we one bag down, 11 more bags to go.
Indeed. War Eagle, member for 54 months. Love this. Held them to 24 in their house, and our D didn't have our best outing. I'll take that all damn day. War Damn Eagle.
Now, this is about what I expect. This is a good way to look at that, because again, you're talking about an offense that returned pretty much the same players from last year on a team that averaged about 30 some points, and they didn't reach their last year's season average in their own house.
Yeah. It's about what I expected. Again, I did not think that Auburn was going to hold Baylor to nothing. I thought they would move the ball. I just thought Auburn would win where it counts, and that was in the red zone and on the scoreboard. 24 points, holding this team to 24 points in this particular situation with all the returning talent they had was pretty incredible. It was an incredible job. And look, man, under normal circumstances where Baylor didn't seem so desperate, like, man, dude, what was it? 5 fourth down tries tonight?
Yeah.
They went for it a lot. I tweeted this out. It felt like about midway through the second quarter, every drive was a last-minute gasp desperation drive for Baylor. They were playing like they were going to lose the game the very next drive for most of the game.
Mike, in some of those fourth down tries, the game was on the line. I think it was the one where they were down 17-3 and they went for it on fourth down. Like, if they didn't convert that, they were going to be deep in their own territory. It was going to be over because Auburn had all of the momentum. So they were in a few situations where it made sense to go for it because of the situation.
Absolutely. Jazzy Joe says, bring that fool from Locked On Baylor. He needs to be drugged. Cam Stewart. Cam is actually a very nice guy, I gotta say. So, like, I just want to say, technically he's a coworker, but he's a friend from work. But he said some foolishness, and when you say foolishness, you got to get called to the carpet. So that's what happened there. Chris Culverhouse, where you at, Y2K? Ran that mouth all summer. Now it's crickets. You want a plate with that game because you just got served, son. He said you got served.
Hey, listen, props to Y2K for showing his face.
He showed up now. Come on.
Hey, he got a green name, by the way. That's yeah.
He signed up for a membership.
There's been a lot of gifting going on tonight, so that's probably what happened.
I've been telling him, like, hey, bro, just go ahead and sign up for a membership. You've been,
there was a lot of gifting today, so I'm pretty sure he was a proud recipient of one of those gifted memberships. I think that's what happened.
He's welcome. If anything, we try to keep it respectful around here, and I don't fault him for having faith in his team. I don't fault him.
That's a good team. That's a good team.
He should have faith in his team. At some point, reality meets you. And I think reality just kind of found Baylor. Not that they're a bad football team, just that Auburn is a better football team than they thought. And Auburn's a little bit harder to project. So again, you fell into the trap of just looking at the record and saying 5-7 and Jackson Arnold was bad last year. And it felt like a lot of Baylor fans were just putting stock in Jackson Arnold was just going to be bad more so than Baylor was going to beat Auburn. And Jackson Arnold wasn't bad tonight.
In fairness, people who closely follow this team wasn't sure what was going to happen. So if you don't root for this team, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your team is going to win, right? Like I can understand how people would feel that way. But again, if you watch this team closely, you knew that turnovers took them out of games. Turnovers erased leads. Like these inopportune times where Auburn just made bad plays is what took them out of games, and they did none of that tonight. And you saw the result of that.
Yeah. Let's see here. It says we want Cam Stewart and Locked On Big 12. Oh man! If anything,
it wasn't just
they're gonna get hate views. They're gonna get a lot of hate views the rest of the season. The Headless Horseman says, "Pleasant to the house." That was a very pleasant play of the game. I was, as soon as he caught it, as soon as he hit like that first line, I knew he was gone. Like it was open all the way to the left, Dustin, up the sideline, and it was just athlete on athlete, and they weren't going to catch him. That was a fun play to watch. Top flight security of the world. If you don't get this movie reference, I feel sorry for you. When was the last time you've seen Auburn be so automatic in short yardage situations? Credit to the O-line. They could not get home with sending an extra defender. It felt like Trey Mason 2013. 3rd and 3, Auburn just was picking it up. Either Jackson Arnold was getting it. It felt like they could not make a bad decision on that read, on whether to give it or keep it. There was one that he kept that I thought he should have given to Eric Singleton that looked like Eric was going to be gone. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. There was one read where he kept it, and I thought he should have gave it to Eric Singleton. But, man, it was working tonight. Jazzy Joe gifts 20 War Report memberships. Check your emails, guys. You could be on the receiving end of one of these. Jazzy Joe gives another 20 memberships. We appreciate that. Stu dies a lot. 5 more memberships. I think we've been like 100 memberships given away so far. We appreciate you guys for that. J Rock 199 super chat. If there's a comment, drop it. We'll try to catch it. Caesar, if you could. Perry Unlikely 499. Baylor lost to NC State with a better brand. That's what they called us before the game. Oh, this is the first time I've heard this. Have you guys heard this? NC State with a better brand? Interesting.
I haven't heard that comparison in particular, but I can tell you what, Auburn football has been built on running the ball. Yeah. So you come out, run the ball for 300 yards, and I feel so good for guys like Damari Austin and Jeremiah Cobb, who have sat there and waited their turn. They were great players. It's just you had a beast in Jarquez Hunter, man. And those guys came out tonight and showed you why. They were high-level recruits as well. And just I'm so excited for what the potential of what this offense could be, because we just ran the ball down their throat. And guys, I don't care how you move the chains through the air, on the ground, as long as they're resetting that thing to first down, baby. Let's go. And I didn't. I was coming in here as they threw the graphic up at the end of the game, but there was a stat that Jackson Arnold had tonight where they compared him to the first one to do that since Nick Marshall. Anytime you get up into that territory, they're comparing you to Nick Marshall and what you did on the ground. Man, love it.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
Yeah, didn't even have to use those weapons, guys. We didn't have to use them tonight on the outside.
Benji says, what happens when they stack the box? Can our wide receivers get open and Arnold hit them? We didn't have to tonight, but UGA Bama will make that happen. Look, I think you saw when Cam Coleman went up to get his only catch of the night. That can't happen. That can't happen down the road. Sure. They've got to get the ball to Cam a lot more. But he went up and just made a play for his quarterback. And I expect to see more of that. But I also don't anticipate that the pass pro Jackson's going to be able to sit in the pocket a little bit more than he was able to tonight. They did a good job flushing him out of the pocket, and he had to make plays on the run. So, again, you have to give Baylor some credit for what they were able to try to do defensively. Just they didn't have an answer for his legs or his arm. Rick says, we'll have to watch the film, but didn't see the second and short with the extra guy in the box. Appears there wasn't a lot of tackling in camp. Yeah, I mean, tackling left a lot to be desired for sure. Stu Dies a lot says we should start 3-0 on the season. That should set us up for a bare minimum of a bowl game. And he's right. Like, you won this game, so you'll be 3-0 headed into SEC play. And then, right, you've got Mercer, which is a dub on the schedule, and you've got to find 2 more wins to get to a bowl game. It's just talking about just making a bowl game. This win, Dustin, changes the trajectory of the season. Now you just got to get one of your first 3 SEC games. A big win versus Oklahoma, a big win versus Texas A&M, or finally crack the Georgia code in Game 6. And, you know, if you just so happen to get 2 of them, Auburn is going to be a top 10 team headed into mid-October, which is crazy to think about now. But this opens the door for a lot of possibilities for the Tigers. Just moving down the list here. Mercy says, when was the last time we got a kick return touchdown without a penalty? Yeah, in 2018, Noah I returned a touchdown versus Arkansas. That was the last time Auburn returned one for a touchdown on a kickoff. SMI7H. Oh, no, air raid offense did what they do best. It's game 1 after a long season. Durkin gets paid well for a reason. He'll clean it up. I agree. I don't think there's any reason to think they'll be worse than they were last year. This was a dynamic Baylor passing attack. And for what it's worth, Auburn did not let them do the thing they weren't good at well, which is what I appreciate. Look, they passed well because that's what they did well, but you didn't let them run the ball. And that's what I think was the key to the game for Auburn defensively. They couldn't control the clock at home. They couldn't control the pace of the game at home. Dustin, Auburn remained in control of this game the entire time. Jazzy Joe comes in and says, am I tripping, or was that not a helmet to helmet on Jackson Arnold?
Early in the game, yeah, that was
targeted. Yeah, I thought it was targeted.
That they missed. It was definitely week 1 for this officiating crew too. I didn't think they leaned one way or the other. I just thought that they missed some calls kind of all over the place. You know how Josh Pate always says padlock stat?
Yeah.
307 rushing yards for Auburn, 64 for Baylor. Like, you tell me that before the game, and then you say, oh, and Auburn doesn't have any turnovers. Yeah, Auburn wins. Auburn covers and wins easily, right?
Yeah, 100%. HYTYD fishing. Give that L back to Walker White. Walker White was on the sideline somewhere watching this.
Yeah.
I know it's got to hurt for that young man. He left. Now they look good, but they get the win versus his new team. Let's see here. Evil Top Hat. People do not understand. We ran the RPO. We ran what the defense gave us. Arnold can and will pass, and we ran the ball because our defense could not stop none. Look, they ran the ball because they could.
Yeah,
they ran the ball last year. They averaged Jarquez Hunter averaged 6.4 yards per carry last year, and this line got better. Run blocking has never been the issue. I think now if you've got a quarterback like Jackson Arnold who is so athletic, and he can do some things. They've just got to get his arm working a little bit better, and they're going to win some football games. I'm telling you, people forget he went out on that terrible Oklahoma team and beat Bama last year. I think the stat line was similar. What, it was like 130 yards rushing, Dustin versus Bama last year too. Jazzy Joe said, gifts 10 more War Report memberships. Thanks, Jazzy. You spent a lot of money tonight, brother. Bo Banner, Dustin, the stat was 100 plus 30 plus yards and 2 TDs rushing.
That'll win you ball games.
Yeah, it will.
Football, that'll win you football games.
War Eagle, man, depth makes a difference. This is a lot. Yeah, they just got so many.
Can I make a point on this?
Yes.
So whenever Jeremiah Wright went out, and we have heard that they had been trying out Too Tall at guard as well. I mean, normally he's a tackle, but Jeremiah Wright goes out. They put Too Tall in at guard, and it doesn't skip a beat. We keep running the ball right. We ran the ball right behind him. I think it was the next play. We ran the ball right behind him, got good yard. It didn't skip a beat. There are times in the past where if a starting offensive lineman for Auburn goes out, there's a downgrade from the next guy. It speaks to the versatility of a guy like Too Tall. Good on Auburn and Jake Thornton and Hugh Freeze for being prepared for that situation, and there was no drop-off. He came right back in when he was called on, and Too Tall did, and just didn't skip a beat. The offense just kept running it right down their throat. We've got depth on the O-line now.
Yep. Let's see here. HYTYD Fish says this was a way easier to watch than both Cal games. No kidding. Woo, boy, those Cal games were awful watches. Terrible. J-Rock 95. I thought he became a member already. Maybe he upgraded his membership. We appreciate him. And I think Y2K, are you in here? Yes, he says, good night, guys. Sickle Bears. Good night, my friend. You were a trooper. And look, for what it's worth, good luck to Baylor the rest of the season. After Auburn wins, I want to see all their opponents win every game. I think, unless you're Bama, and in which case you could just lose into oblivion. But yeah, they're a team that should contend for the Big 12. And I don't know if you guys saw Iowa State, Kansas State, but like, I think Baylor's a better offensive football team than both those squads right now. So if they can improve and build on this and find a way to, put some life in that running game, I can't imagine that there are many teams in the Big 12 that are going to be able to stop Baylor's run game the way Auburn did tonight. They should be okay. And this could end up being a signature win for Hugh Freeze by the end of the season. We've talked about this. He didn't have one since he's been at Auburn.
Yeah.
Not any I would qualify. And this is hard. It teeters on because it is a big game against a good football team on the road. But also it was a game that I expected them to win. And I'm not sure the stakes are really that high game one for either team. So in hindsight, it may end up being one for sure. But this was a good football team. I don't think that should be taken away from Hugh Freeze and his squad. Marshall Jones says, I didn't watch, but this was the other game on tonight. Colorado lost to Georgia Tech, apparently.
They was trailing the whole game.
Yeah. Oof, man.
Yeah, it's not surprising. Georgia Tech's quality team. They're gonna be hard out this year.
This guy says, did Mike Litteris or Jack Mehoff play tonight? I think maybe he's talking about that other game there. Whew, man. She says, put Trig on your fantasy team. No kidding. That guy had himself a night, 7 catches for 99 yards, and he wasn't even the leading receiver. Cole Wilson had 8 catches for 134 yards. And this one, again, Sawyer Robertson passed for 419 yards on the night. 27 for 48 he was.
Hey, Mike, go over and grab the star comments. There's some older ones that are still up there.
Are there really?
Yeah.
Real quick on Trig, he is the only.
I grab him.
Trig is the only player, if I'm not mistaken on this. He is the only player on Baylor's roster that is a top 150 recruit. So to the point that recruiting matters.
Yeah.
Really? Is he really?
Yes.
A top 150 or top 100?
Top 150.
He's a top 150, only top 150. Wow.
Yeah, he's a big time. He was a big time get out of high school.
Yeah, it's tough. Go ahead.
I'll run through these, Mike. Sherman Hall, with the super chat here. AU Templin asking for Y2K and Cam Stewart of Locked On.
Yeah.
Damian Prentice says Warnham Eagle, this win is going to look even better later on. Baylor is a good team. Yep, we agree.
That's what we just said. Yeah.
Yeah, Mercy says run, and keep on running. That's what they did tonight. Amazing job. Exclusive TV says belt to ass, put the defense back to the drawing board.
Oh, man. It was definitely built to ass. That was wild.
G Martinez just became a new member. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Stu Dazala says Jackson Arnold better than Peyton Thorne. Confirm. I'll take that. Or damn Eagle. TJ Lou says Hugh learned how to run the ball. I started to wear my run the ball t-shirt after that game. That was an amazing thing to see. Lieutenant DT just gifted 5 World War memberships earlier. Rick Kazanave says, very glad for the win. Baylor was too deep almost all night, so running made sense. D found a way to miss 6 more tackles on the way to the locker room. That's funny. I believe they get that cleaned up, though, Rick. Anthony Long says, great game, but the defense needs to run tackling drills ASAP. Like, bro, this should have been a blowout. Missed assignments and bad tackling.
Yeah, they could have won this game by a lot more. And if you stop a couple more of those fourth downs, Auburn maybe scores 50 in this one, and they don't break 20. They were they were 2 stops away from this being a 30-point win.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mercy says they talked a lot of ish just to get beat by 2 scores. Poor damn Eagle.
If you follow the show, you expected this. We told you it would happen. I told you it would happen. Wow.
Main Ford just became a member.
Thank you.
Thomason says, Warden Eagle, we ran the ball.
They
like
did.
That.
They did. They did run the ball. And you know what? For what it's worth, Caesar, the receivers were getting so much of the storylines.
Yeah.
And I kept telling people, you guys are sleeping on Damari and Jeremiah. They were the story of the game. The running game was the story of this game.
Right.
There was a couple of those 3rd and shorts too, where we kind of ran that to the outside, where Cam Coleman was just out there blocking like a dog, being physical, like fully engaged. And when you're looking at a 1st-round NFL wide receiver, he obviously wants to catch the ball, run around, and make plays. Like he recognized his role. That kid's a winner. He just wants to win the football game.
Yeah.
Put his hat in their chest, move the DBs back, and allowed our running backs extra yardage to continue to move the rock. So I know that again, Dave Aranda heard for months about Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, Perry Thompson. He said, these guys aren't beating me. That's fine. Jordan-Hare Stadium is built off of the run game. So we could do that. We can do that.
It's weird that it's interesting to see defensive coordinators actually game plan for Auburn's passing attack for once.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like
you had to respect it. And so this exactly what I said would happen happened. Because you had to respect it, and once they start to back off a little bit, those running backs are ripping off huge chunks. Because if you let them get downhill to the second level, you're not going to stop them until they've gotten 5 or 6 yards.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to get downhill tonight, and even though they made just enough catches. So when Cam Coleman makes that big catch, it's like, crap, we can't forget about these guys back here. If they had sold out against the run, Jackson Arnold would have passed for 300 yards in this one. But they couldn't do it. And I mean, this is a well-rounded football team right now.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing. And when you're one-dimensional on the stat sheet, it might look great at the end of the game, but you got beat by 3 scores. Listen,
both of us were one-dimensional in a sense tonight. I'd rather be the team that can run the football. Again, that's one of the things that I say is a saving grace here, because you're going to need to be able to run and melt clock. It seemed like Baylor has a lot of momentum pulling within one score, and Auburn took control of the game yet again.
But Caesar, I don't know that Auburn was one-dimensional. Baylor was one-dimensional because they couldn't run. Auburn just
Right.
didn't have to
Just
pass.
didn't run. Sure.
Yeah, that's it. They didn't have to.
Well, I mean, they took a lot of the passing opportunities away. I mean, they just gave you a clean box to just run in, and so that's when I say one dimensional, they forced Auburn to just run the football, which history has shown that's a bad idea. That's a bad strategy against any Auburn team, is to concede the run and just let them take it.
They could have put up more 50-50 balls tonight for the receivers. 100% could put up more 50-50 balls, but on the road, you just don't put the ball in harm's way if you don't have to. They didn't have to. So they kept it on the ground. Jackson Arnold didn't fumble the football ish, right? And he didn't throw picks. I'm telling you, like that one almost recovered fumble by Baylor could have been completely devastating and could have been a game-changing play for Baylor in terms of
could have been talking about a different game.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Auburn doesn't win, but it definitely could have changed a lot of stuff. You are seeing comments that I'm not seeing here, Caesar. I don't know. So if you see this one, Jarrett Stidham was mentioned by Fox, apparently. 9-time champion says, when you put a bunch of dogs on a plane, take them to Texas, you know what's going to happen. Okay.
That's hilarious.
Fuller says one Texas team to one was Tarleton State over Army. Coop, the creator, says Auburn fans showed up in Waco. There's a lot of them out there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We know from covering media days down there, and Ike and I were in San Antonio for the Final Four. I'm telling you, like Texas is a lot of folks, Auburn folks down there. Brandon Lucas says, not convinced until we play Oklahoma. It's okay. It's okay to have some reservations. But here's the thing. If you lose to Oklahoma, there's not going to be this crazy sense of desperation now because you got this win. This is why I think this win was so important, is now, again, one of the first 3 SEC games. I'm going to keep saying this until people get it. If you are 4-2 coming out of that first 6-game stretch, you've done great. If you're 5-1 for some reason, Auburn is going to have a great season.
Yeah.
They're going to have a fantastic season. So, because after that, the next 5 teams after Georgia, I don't know that any of them will be favored to beat Auburn.
A lot of people were not convinced about this game, so I'm that this is okay. Auburn has to win games until they can change the narrative about them. So that's totally understandable.
We're at the hour mark here. It is 1 a.m. So
let me grab 4 more. Let me grab 4 more. There are 4 more supers. Darius Lee says this game wasn't close. Baylor played desperate the whole game. Would have loved to have seen the passing game, but there was no need for it tonight.
Yeah, no need for it. Yeah, but you'll see
JJ Brand says RG3 can be really corny, but I do appreciate him defending and explaining Hughes' play calling system.
Yeah, I thought you did a great job on the call tonight, honestly.
Agreed. I do.
Yeah. Stephen Neely says, talk me off the ledge, 108 total passing yards. How do we convince all these talented wide receivers to stay? Cam Coleman looked happy after that dub. I don't know what you guys saw, but he looked happy after the game because
they were blocking their ass off all night.
Yeah, but listen, this is not going to be every game. They were playing, I said it best, they were playing a stubborn defensive coordinator who refused to deviate from his game plan of taking away the pass, the explosive plays. There was some opportunities to throw the ball down the field, but Baylor was determined that if Auburn's going to win, they're going to have to beat them on the ground, and that's what Auburn did. Yeah. Kudos to Auburn for staying the course and just taking what the defense gives them.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Exclusive TV says, am I the only one that's getting 2013 vibes? Slow, yeah. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Hey, enjoy the win. I know you're feeling good. But pump the brakes. It's just game one. It's just game one. Darius Lee says, love that the wide receivers seem happy. Again, they were having fun. Again, these guys are winners. So if you're able to win a game of this magnitude, these guys are going to have fun. Now, yes, Auburn's going to have to show that they can throw the ball and get the ball in their hands, but everyone's not going to have the similar game plan that Baylor just deployed tonight, because at some point you have to start respecting Jackson Arnold's ability to run, which means you're going to have to commit more people down towards the line of scrimmage, which means you're going to have a lot of those one-on-one matchups. Those matchups were not there tonight, and there was no need to try to force things. All right, I think we got through it, Mike.
Appreciate everybody for joining the War Report live stream. Again, if you came over from Locked On Auburn, we appreciate you for supporting both the channels here. We'll be back at you guys tomorrow for the weekend tailgate. Dustin from the Uptempo Pod. I want to thank you for joining me.
Going live tomorrow, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, sir. Some coffee and we'll be up and going.
Little housekeeping before we get out of here on today's show. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Visit them for all your herbal medicinal needs. A lot of unconventional what I would call remedies for things that ail you. And if you want to go the holistic route, the Rogue Shop potentially has something that could improve your quality of life. So we appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Also want to thank our friends at AIM and Associates. I want to give a big Auburn welcome to them. They're our newest sponsor. Abel's Iron and More have been in business for almost 25 years. They manage over $200 million for clients in over 25 states and 2 foreign countries. They're not some big corporate operation. This is an Auburn family providing honest guidance and top-notch service. You get the feel for a small town with years of insight, perspective, and results. Jeff, David, Colin are great to work with. You can contact them, Abel's Iron More and Associates, at 912-777-4128. Again, that's 912-777-4128, or visit AIMC.com to see why they're different. You don't need millions of dollars to need an eventual financial advisor, guys. You just need a paycheck and some goals for the future or something that you care about. These guys can help you start it down the path to understanding how your financial dreams are achievable through sensible financial planning. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron More and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iron More and Associates is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including the potential for loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. AIM and Associates, get started on your path to financial freedom today. That's it for today's live stream. I want to thank all 1,600 of you at some point that jumped in here with us. We'll be back at you guys tomorrow morning. We're gonna post the audio from this up on Pod. So if you're just jumping in and you missed the first half, it will be on audio for you guys. Subscribe to the Uptempo. Join them at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and you can find us here at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for our normal. I'm sorry, tomorrow Saturday.
It's Friday, baby.
We won't be here at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Feels like a Saturday. It's Friday night, baby. Everybody else has to stress out tomorrow. So
we get a whole day. We just put our feet up and relax.
I did a whole Harry for nothing. Okay, all right. So we'll be back Sunday with even more War Report. We appreciate everybody for joining us today. We're signing off, guys. As always, War Eagle.